Joshua chapter 7 verse 1. But the Israelites weren't faithful to the Lord. They didn't destroy what had been set apart to him, so they did not do what they had been told to do. Achan had taken some of those things, so the Lord became very angry with Israel. Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, and Joshua told the men, "Go up and check out the area around Ai." When they returned to Joshua, the men said, "Don't make the whole army go up there. Only a few people live in Ai." So only about 3,000 troops went up. But the men of Ai drove them away. They killed about 36 of the Israelite men, so the Israelites were terrified. Joshua and the elders became sad. Joshua fell in front of the ark of the Lord with his face to the ground, and he said, "Lord, our enemies have driven us away. The Canaanites will hear about it. So will everyone else in the country. They'll erase any mention of our name from the face of the earth. Then what will you do when people don't honor your great name anymore?" The Lord said to Joshua, "Get up. What are you doing down there on your face? Israel has sinned. I made a covenant with them. I commanded them to keep it, but they have broken it. They've taken some of the things that I had set apart to me in a special way to be destroyed. They've stolen, they have lied, and that's because I have decided to let them be destroyed. You must destroy the things you took that had been set apart to me. If you do not, I will not be with you anymore. Go and set the people apart. Tell them, make yourselves pure. Get ready for tomorrow. Here is what the Lord, the God of Israel, wants you to do. He says, 'People of Israel, you have kept some of the things that had been set apart to me to be destroyed. You can't stand up against your enemies until you get rid of those things. In the morning, come forward tribe by tribe, and whoever is caught with the things that had been set apart to the Lord will be destroyed by fire. Everything that belongs to that person will also be destroyed. He has broken the Lord's covenant. He has done a very terrible thing in Israel.'" Early in the morning, Joshua had Israel come forward by tribes. He had their men come forward one by one, and Achan was chosen. Joshua said to Achan, "My son, the Lord is the God of Israel, so give him glory and honor by telling the truth. Tell me what you have done and don't hide it from me." Achan replied, "It's true. I've sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. Here is what I've done. I saw a beautiful robe from Babylonia among the things we had taken. I saw 5 pounds of silver, and I saw a gold bar that weighed 20 ounces. I wanted them, so I took them." So Joshua sent some messengers. They ran to Achan's tent, and there was everything hidden in his tent. Then Joshua and all the people grabbed Achan. They took the silver, the robe, and the gold bar. They took Achan's sons and daughters. They took his cattle, donkeys, and sheep. They also took his tent and everything he had. Joshua said to Achan, "Why have you brought this trouble on us? The Lord will bring trouble on you today." Then all the people killed Achan by throwing stones at him. They killed the rest of his family with stones, and they burned them up. They placed a large pile of rocks on top of Achan's body, and the place has been called the Valley of Achor ever since. That pile is still there to this day, and after the people killed Achan, the Lord was no longer angry with them. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid, do not lose hope. Go up and attack Ai. Take the whole army with you. I have handed the king of Ai over to you. Remember what you did to Jericho and its king? You will do the same thing to Ai and its king. Have some of your fighting men hide behind the city and take them by surprise." So Joshua and the whole army moved out to attack Ai. He gave them orders, and he said, "Listen carefully to what I'm saying. You must hide behind the city. All of you must be ready to attack it. I and all those with me will march up to the city. The men of Ai will come out to fight against us, just as they did before. Then we'll run away from them. They'll chase us until we've drawn them away from the city. And they'll say, 'They're running away from us, just as they did before.' When we run away from them, come out of your hiding place and capture the city. The Lord your God will hand it over to you. And when you've taken it, set it on fire. Do what the Lord has commanded. Make sure you obey my orders." Then Joshua sent them away, and they went to the place that he had planned to hide. Early the next morning, Joshua brought together his army. He and the leaders of Israel marched in front of them to Ai. The men took up their battle positions. The king of Ai saw what the troops with Joshua were doing. So the king and all his men hurried out of the city early in the morning. All of them went out to chase Israel. When they did, they left the city wide open. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Hold out toward Ai the javelin that is in your hand, and I will give the city to you." So Joshua held out toward the city, the javelin in his hand, and as soon as he did, the men hiding behind the city got up quickly. They entered the city and they captured it. The men of Ai looked back and they saw smoke rising up from the city into the sky, but they couldn't escape in any direction. Israel struck them down. They didn't let anyone remain alive or get away, but they captured even the king of Ai alive, and they brought him to Joshua. Israel finished killing all the men of Ai, and Joshua killed the king of Ai. They put a large pile of rocks over the body, and that pile is still there to this day. Joshua built an altar to honor the Lord, the God of Israel. Joshua built the altar according to what is written in the book of the law of Moses. Then the people offered on the altar burnt offerings to the Lord. Joshua copied the law of Moses on stones. He did it while all the Israelites were watching. All the Israelites, including outsiders and citizens, were there. Then Joshua read all the words of the law out loud. Joshua read every word of Moses that he had commanded. He read them to the whole community of Israel. And that is the end of our story for today.